This is Brother Teacher. I was prepared earlier today to do several videos on some subjects, and I ran into a problem with my audio. I'd already done the videos, and I'm a bit perturbed because the audio wasn't on. And true to fashion, the videos were right on point, and I like the way in which I expressed them. But be that as it may, uh, I have to do it again. And I'm going to begin with this particular video on women and women dating several men at a time or over a period of time, and how dating these men and having sex with these men, and the men are not wearing condoms, could decide whether or not that woman maintains her own good nature, if you will. So, what I'm getting at is this: I want to encourage you, ladies, uh, that I'm not beating up on you, I'm not talking down on you, but there are segments of our society that are unscrupulous. There are segments of our society where there are women, in this particular instance, uh, that lend themselves to many men over a period of time for the sake of companionship, uh, the sake of just being socially acceptable, if you will. And sex is usually part of that social gathering between them and the man. Very rarely would you find women who date several men actually looking to settle down with just one man. There are times and there are situations where women will find a potential mate and maybe someone that they will stay with for a couple years, 4 years, and then sometimes they fall out of love, have a disagreement, and the woman attaches herself to someone else, another man, the very next person. Sometimes she's already prepared to do this because she may have left her options open, and she may be talking to another man or even several men while she's with the one that she's with presently. That's not good. It's unfair to the man that you are with, especially when you don't tell him that you're talking to other men. I believe and I feel that if you are with a woman, guys and ladies, if you are with a man and you are with each other or one another for a extended period of time and you're having sexual relationships, you are indeed a couple. And if you're not a couple and you have no intentions of being with one another for an extended or maybe a longer extended period of time, then it must be something else. And I'll let you read between the lines what that something else could be. It's pretty obvious. Now understand this. Prostitution, excuse me for being blunt, but prostitution doesn't always have to be an exchange of money for a man to have gratification sexually. Prostitution could also be an exchange for other things. Paying your bills, your cell phone bill, your rent, your utilities, taking you to the grocery store, buying you clothing, helping your children out. All sort of in the same ballpark of materialism, if you will. So let's not get it twisted, ladies. Are you really prostituting yourself? Now, there's someone out there that's going to say, Oh, he's bashing women. No, I'm not. I'm telling you right now that I'm not doing that. I speak eloquently, oftentimes. I'm concise, explicit, right to the point, and my demeanor is the same virtually all of the time. And I'm guiding you along my speech to let you know that I care about you. But sometimes people have to point out, not necessarily flaws, I don't want to call it that necessarily. You know whether or not it is or not, but some things that you need to consider if you want to live a relatively happy life. Now, getting back to the original premise of this video, ladies, it's about DNA, deoxynucleic or ribonucleic acid. We all have DNA. DNA is in your hair, DNA is in your skin, it's in your saliva. If that was not true, then why do they swab your mouth when you go to jail or prison? Or even at the hospital? Why do they take hair samples when you've been doing drugs, especially marijuana? The DNA is also in women's vaginal fluid, in your vagina, period. DNA is in your urine. It's in a man's semen or sperm. It's in your perspiration. It is the foundation molecularly and cellularly of our existence. It's who we are. That's how we find out who our ancestors were, through DNA. That's how they find out, archaeologists and people of the such, how old a remain is of a body, be it an animal or human, how far ago it was, and whether or not it was a Caucasoid or Negroid, if you will, Mongoloid, what culture it was. It's all done through DNA. DNA has gotten men or women out of prison in these modern times as well. DNA is also what identifies whether or not a father has had a child by a woman. He takes a what? A DNA test. So this is what I'm getting at. I'm warning you, and not everyone is going to tell you this. It only makes sense, really. It doesn't take a scientist to understand this or comprehend what I'm saying. But when a woman has sex on a regular, semi-regular basis with several or numerous men, and the man doesn't wear a condom, once he ejaculates, he has just deposited not only his semen or sperm in that lady or that woman, but he has deposited his DNA. When a woman has been raped, isn't that the first thing that they look for? DNA. So let's go a little bit deeper, peel the layers back. Now, if a woman is ovulating and there's an egg present, if sperm can fertilize an egg and create another human being, doesn't the child that is to be born contain the DNA of the man who inseminated the woman? Doesn't your child, men, have your DNA? Girls or boys, they have our DNA. So now, here's the further pulling back of the layers. Ladies, let's say that a man has intercourse with you and he ejaculates in you, no condom. His DNA is still in you. Do you think it's just easily discharged and that's it? No. You get a little bit of his DNA in yours. It is absorbed into your DNA. Never thought about it, did you? How do you think genetically modified organisms exist? They're put together. So, bottom line, what I'm getting at is this. Having sex, ladies, with a man who doesn't have a condom on, and several men, you pick up some of their traits because you have been given some of their DNA. It could be characteristics, it could be personality, but you pick up something like that man's traits. Have you ever seen a couple? This is just kind of out there. Have you ever seen a couple who met for the first time? They got together, they had some children. Over a period of time, some cases anyway that I've noticed, the mother begins to look a little bit like the father. She does. The woman begins to look like the man that she's with. She may not be a spitting image of him, but if you look at her closely enough, she has taken on some of his DNA. And I'll leave it at that. But I'll move a little bit further before I conclude. So if you have several sexual partners, ladies, let's say 4 or 5, I'm being nice, 4 or 5 male sexual partners over a period of time, you have picked up DNA from 5 different people. And it could be all of the difference in the world in shaping your attitude throughout that process. You may be more moody than you've ever been. You may be subject to bipolarism. You may be subject to severe mood swings. Not that you don't already have them, no pun intended. A whole lot of your character may have changed in your personality because you're sleeping with and have been sleeping with several men who did not have on a condom, and they have injected, if you will, their sperm into you. And that sperm was assimilated into your own DNA. You see, it just doesn't go into your vagina and after a couple baths or showers, it just falls out. Something stays. It's like you drinking a glass of water. Your body uses it, right? And if you eat some vegetables and some fruit, your body uses what goes into it. It assimilates it. When a doctor injects some medication into your arm, your body does something with it, right? When a man who has an STD has sex with you, ladies, your body responds to it on a molecular, cellular level. And then you begin to have responses to that STD. Vaginal drainage, blisters, some other eruptions, itching, what have you, and even pain from the STD. And that came from him. That came from some fluid in him. Now, why would you think that if he ejaculates in you, your body's not going to respond to that, even though you may not get pregnant at that particular time? It's going to respond by him fertilizing your egg if you're at that point where you can be pregnant. But if you're not at the point where you can be pregnant, that sperm is still going to do something. You are going to receive something, some nanoparticles, microparticles into your bloodstream and into your cells. And after a period of time, it's going to manifest in your personality and your character, your attitude. That's the truth. If you don't believe what I'm saying, then please respond and say you don't. But don't leave it just a blanket statement. You see, I gave you something concrete to think about. Use all of the examples that I just gave you. And then you can say, hey, that makes perfectly good sense. I never saw it that way. I didn't know that. Maybe I will stop dating so many different men. Maybe I will get myself together and focus on a future with one individual, a meaningful relationship, and not just going out playing the field. Then maybe you want to have the guy wear a condom and continue to do what you're doing. It's not my choice. That's yours. But I just want you to know that when you're dealing with several men, ladies, and they don't have a condom on and you're having casual sex with all of these different men, you're picking up their personality traits as well. You are. So, I thank you for listening to me. I look forward to your response, your comments, as always. And guys, you can chime in as well. But as always, respond respectfully. That's all I ask. Use some respect. Be courteous. You don't have to be colorful in your language, because I'm not approaching you that way. I'm talking to you as a friend, as a content creator, and as your fellow brother. That's just it. So, let me know what you think about this. And if you don't agree with what I say or have said, let me know that as well and tell me why. And don't just be speaking from your emotions. Speak with some logic. Tell me truthfully why you don't believe what I said. And give me some reference as to how you got to that point. Until then, this has been Brother Teacher Reginald. I'll see you in the next video, and you be blessed. So long.